Right now on the 6, things are starting to calm down after a quick round of rain moved through the DMV.
Yeah, take a look at the radar right here in our Fox 5 sky cam. You can see clear skies right now across the region, but hey, stormy weather does roll back through our area over the next couple of days.
Caitlin Roth is here tracking it all. Some of it was heavy in parts here.
That was definitely a downpour we haven't seen in a while.
Quick.
I know, quick moving, delivered a bit of a punch, but nothing severe. So we're not worried about anything for the rest of tonight. I'll say that.
All right. So we're in the clear for now.
Clear for now, but we reset into tomorrow with more storm chances. So that's what I will expound upon as we got through rain this morning, a round of thunderstorms that just passed this afternoon and is still kind of hung up to our east. But with humidity remaining high and more heat on the way tomorrow, more significant heat, we expect additional thunderstorm chances, and we're going to ride that through Friday. At the airports right now, light rain pushing out at Reagan National. Rain cooled to 78 degrees, but with the sun reemerging, as you can see behind me, it will bounce right back up. 81 degrees already rebounding at Dulles as the sun has emerged, and BWI 74 with some lingering showers. You can still see the rain over BWI. It's long gone from Reagan National. The sun's back out, but the showers and storms are now over the bay, moving to the eastern shore. Everything, like I said, stayed below severe limits, but we still had plenty of lightning to the south, now over southern Calvert County, up towards Easton and Cambridge. For tonight, storms are out, skies clear. It remains very warm, and due to the humidity, will only fall back to a low of 74. The sun's back out tomorrow. It's a really hot day. High temperatures in the mid-90s, and you see by evening, we've got some storms around, so a more elevated risk for Thursday, with slight risk, which is a level 3 out of 6, or a 5, level 2 out of 5. I have to work on my counting. Marginal risk we were in today, that's level 1. Tomorrow, slight risk, level 2. So we could see some stronger storms or some more widespread strong storms. I'll show you a futurecast in your full 7-day still to come. Angie?
Caitlin, thank you. 6 people are recovering after a car crash is into a Goodwill store. This happened in Sterling, Virginia. It happened just a couple hours ago at Manifest Boulevard. We know that all 6 who were hurt were taken to the area hospitals. They are expected to be okay. Fire crews telling Fox 5 the building was also fine. The sheriff's office is now investigating how that driver ended up crashing into the Goodwill in the first place. And we have learned the name of the woman who was killed in the Springfield crash yesterday. Police say Charity McGee went off the road after hitting a guardrail near Old Keene Mill Road and Tiverton Drive. She died at the scene. 2 men were also hurt. 1 suffered life-threatening injuries. We know that 2 dogs were recovered at the scene and turned over to animal control. Police say speed was likely a factor in this crash.
The first court appearance today for the bus driver accused of causing the deadly I-95 crash in Stafford County. New details revealed. Fox 5's Bob Barnard has the latest from Stafford.
Jing Dong appeared in 2 courtrooms here today, in General District Court, then in Circuit Court, facing those 5 counts of involuntary manslaughter and 1 count of reckless driving. He was in a wheelchair, and after the hearings, his defense attorney, Thad Furlong, spoke to reporters about Mr. Dong's state of mind.
He is very remorseful emotionally. He is devastated when he found out that lives were lost, when he woke up in the hospital and was informed that people lost their lives in this accident. He was devastated by that.
It is still not clear why the 48-year-old charter bus driver from New York City, as Virginia State Police have alleged, never hit the brakes as traffic in front of him was slowing for a construction zone on southbound I-95 in Stafford County. It was 2:30 in the morning, Friday, May 29th, the bus ending up in the median after slamming into 6 other vehicles. The crash killed 4 members of a Massachusetts family in one car and a 25-year-old woman from New England in another. Dozens of others were hurt. There were 34 passengers on the bus at the time. Dong suffered internal injuries and a concussion, according to his lawyer. In court, Dong needed a Mandarin interpreter. We're told he understands little English. That, U.S. transportation officials have said, is problematic as well, considering regulations placed on tour bus company drivers. Dong also had at least 1 speeding ticket driving a bus in Maryland. The investigation still trying to determine what led to the deadly crash. Did Mr. Dong have a medical emergency? Was he distracted? Did he fall asleep?
That is the big question of the hour. And what I can tell you is we have had discussions on the defense team with him about his memory and what he recalls. I'm not going to go into that at this time because there are hearings where strategically we want to release that when it comes due. But for right now, I can tell you that he has communicated with us what he remembers, and we are going to match that against the evidence that the Commonwealth Attorney gave us today to see if they match up.
The prosecution says it has some 2,000 photographs and lots of video from the crime scene that it is sharing with the defense attorney as this case continues to be investigated. Virginia State Police asking anybody who has additional video or witness testimony from the time of the accident to please come forward.
Thank you, Bob. The head of Loudoun County Public Schools in the hot seat today on Capitol Hill. He faced tough questions in the wake of a federal investigation into his district over a student who's accused of recording others in a school bathroom. Fox 5's chief legal correspondent, Katie Barlow, was inside the hearing on the Hill. So what happened, Katie?
Well, most of today's fireworks, and there weren't that many, but they came toward the end of the hearing where Dr. Aaron Spence was pressed repeatedly on this incident that happened at Stonebridge High School, where a transgender student recorded inside the boys' locker room while documenting alleged harassment. Now, he was also asked about delays in notifying parents when there are overdoses on campus.
It's unclear to us when we have an overdose happening. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. If a student is transported medically out of our building, let's say that they have passed out and they're transported medically out of our building, when they get to the hospital, we no longer have access to their medical records. They don't tell us what happened to the child. We just know that they passed out in our building.
Several Republican members asked Spence about the incident at Stonebridge High School, specifically about why the boys who were recorded received tougher punishment than the transgender student. Spence said that he would not speak about specific student disciplinary matters, except to say that a student would not be disciplined unless they were found in violation of the student code. Jasmine Tyler is a parent of an LCPS student with an individualized education program, also known as an IEP, and she's supportive of how Loudoun has handled some of these issues. Meantime, Seth Wolf's son was one of the 3 boys who were recorded during the Stonebridge High School locker room incident.
I think Dr. Spence did a great job. I am an LCPS parent, and I think we have real challenges around gaps for services and around outcomes, and this kind of witch hunt is not the type of way that I want Dr. Spence to be spending his time.
Because of the way that these policies in these school boards are written, our voice and our rights are being taken away from us, and not just us as parents, but as students. If a student speaks up against it, they are forced to either take punishment or stand down.
Dr. Spence refused to answer any questions right after the hearing was over, and then he left the building in a way that kept us from being able to ask any questions in the hallway as he left.
All right, Katie, thank you. New at 6, senators demanding answers from the Trump administration on the use of national park entry fees to pay for D.C. projects. In a letter to the Interior Secretary, lawmakers threatened to launch an inquiry into the president's, quote, vanity projects. They claim the National Park Service has used $60 million in entry fees to pay for fountain restoration and the painting of the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. According to reports, tens of millions of dollars are expected to be spent on more preparations ahead of the 4th of July.
Well, just now, the U.S. military says it is striking multiple targets in Iran. U.S. Central Command says the attacks are all in response to Iran's continued aggression. The attacks come after the U.S. hit an oil tanker leaving Iran earlier today. President Trump says the attacks are retaliation for Iran downing an American helicopter and to force the country back to the negotiating table for a peace deal.
We want a deal that's meaningful. We want a deal that works. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter. It didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode. Those two guys, they knew how to fly.
That's how you get the Strait open. If they're not going to do it via a deal, we have to be prepared to do it via force.
Negotiators are still trying to salvage the peace deal despite the fighting. Trump said earlier this week a peace deal could be signed sometime this week. Gas and food prices, meanwhile, keep surging as the war drags on. The Consumer Price Index for May shows prices rose 4.2% year over year. That is the highest jump since 2023. Now, the Trump administration continues to downplay the high costs as Democrats urge voters to keep inflation in mind ahead of the midterms.
A heads up for people in Maryland. Early voting starts tomorrow in the state's primary. There's some controversy this year after some voters got the wrong party's mail-in ballots. The state's Board of Elections approved a plan to void the incorrect ballots and only count replacements. Early voting runs through next Thursday ahead of the June 23rd primary.